it is Leighellen with Momma Leighlen's Book Nook, and it looks like I need this to be taller. I missed Bookmail on Monday. So I thought since Thursday, I would do a little Thankful Thursday and share all of my book mail with you that came this week so we can stay on track with all of these new books. And what is exciting is I got some that are books that I've actually already read. So I'll tell you a little bit about what I thought about them. And then there's books that are coming up. So I'll share when they're coming and a little bit about what they're about and all that good stuff. So hi, thanks for joining me. So first up is Heartless Hunter. This is a book that I actually ordered last month from Book of the Month and read it that way. And then actually got the audio from PRH Audio. So that was fun to go back and listen to. And then I posted my review, and then Wednesday Books reached out and then sent me a signed copy, which is always super fun. So this is Heartless Hunter by Kristen. I'm probably going to slaughter your name, Ciccarelli. And this is a fantasy book, and it's really fun because it's dual point of view, and it is about a witch and a witch hunter. And the witch has this like alternate identity. She's like this vigilante known as the Crimson Moth. So you might actually have seen this book also listed as the Crimson Moth. So I think my Fairy Loot edition is actually named the Crimson Moth. It's the same book, The Heartless Hunter. So it is romantasy, I would say. So fantasy world, but it's about this witch and a witch hunter. So obviously they shouldn't like each other, but they do. And there's a little bit of everything. There's like, opposites attract because they're from totally opposing worlds. They live in a place where witches are, banned. They're not supposed to do magic. And he is the like head commander of the witch army, the witch hunting army. So if you like witty banter and that kind of opposites attract, I love this. I think this cover is gorgeous. Check this out. It's already out. It came out, let me see, what are my notes? February 20th. So that is that one. The next one that I was so excited to get is Wandering Stars from Tommy Orange. Now, this was like one of my most anticipated books of the year because years ago, I want to say like pre-Bookstagram world, 2018, 2019, I read this book called There. And kind of fun fact, this was before I was on Bookstagram, and I actually was on Facebook. What is Facebook? I was on Facebook with Matt Nathanson. Matt Nathanson is a musician who I adore, and he had a online book club. And so he was like, let's read this book together. And that's what we chose. And that's what we read and discussed. And so I loved this book, and I have been highly anticipating his new book. This is from Tommy Orange, and this is his new book. Now, it's not necessarily a sequel, but I highly recommend reading this first because this book takes place right after this one. And it's interesting because it's like a prequel and a sequel at the same time, because while it happens in the events after they're there, the story goes back in time and tells you about events in history that have affected Native people. So that's the gist, so that you learn about important, awful ways that we have managed and navigated Native culture. And so it talks about the Sand Creek Massacre of 1864, and that's when the U.S. Army actually like wiped out a bunch of Native people and either killed them or relocated them. Then it talks about the Indian schools. If you don't know about that, there's these schools back in the day that tried to like take the Indian out of each person, and so they would change their religion, change their culture, change their name, and basically whitewashing them. And so this book goes back to those events, then ends up back where there was. So it's really a narrative look at Native whitewashing and culture and effects of multi-generational trauma, but it's done in such a beautiful way. Tommy Orange is brilliant, and I love his writing style. So I think you will really enjoy this if you liked There. If you haven't read There, please read that first because it really enriches this whole experience. But It's really I think Tommy does a wonderful job of just elevating the stories of his people. It's almost like a story about stories. It's a story about why it's important to tell stories, why his people need to keep sharing their stories to keep their culture and language alive. And without sounding ridiculous, it is a hope filled message because it is also, the resiliency of his people and saying, hey, we are still here and we're still persevering. And these are our stories. So it's a look at all of those things. I highly recommend this. This is easily was a 5-star for me and will easily be in my favorites of the year. So this is already out. It came out February 27th. So thank you. Oh, I'm supposed to be telling you who these are from. I think I did. Maybe I did. This was Wednesday's Books. So because YouTube and everybody has all these regulations now, I got to make sure I say thanks. So this was given to me from Wednesday's Books. Wednesday Books. And this one was sent from Knopf. And they also sent this really cool, look at how beautiful this is, this print with the poem. So I can't figure out how to do that. There we go. This is definitely going to be a favorite book of the year, so don't miss this one. All right, then we get into books that are coming. So these are all books that are going to be out in the next few weeks or months. First up is Canceled. This is a YA, contemporary YA book, and it is about this girl who is like, it kind of sounds like a Mean Girls thing. She's a middle class, but hanging with all these schwanky chicks, and she's in the popular crowd, but maybe like the off girl. And anyways, drama happens, of course, because she's in high school, senior in high school, and she's at this party, and somebody takes a video of her, and it looks like she's hooking up with her best friend's boyfriend. Of course, it was not her; it was someone else in like the same Halloween costume. It was at a Halloween party, and it goes viral. And so it's really about, high school drama. It's about this girl who like goes on this mystery quest to try to figure out who's trying to like blackmail her, who took this video and why, all that stuff. So if you like drama, if you like Mean Girls, this is a fun contemporary YA mystery. And this came from Viking Books, and it is out March 19th. So it's coming soon. Oh, this is coming soon too. Oh, this one sounds really good. This is The Swan's Nest. The Swan's Nest is historical fiction, but based on real people, and sounds really cool because she did all this research, Laura McNeal, and it's the true story of these two people that connect over poetry. So they start writing each other about, oh, I love this poem and here's what I got out of it. And oh, I loved this. And they literally like fall in love over writing to each other. And she has like a disorder and is like worried that when they meet, he won't actually like her. And they do. And then they end up like eloping and getting married and moving to some place where it can help her be healthier, and her family disowns her. So it is the true story of Elizabeth Barrett and Robert Browning, and their bond and their romance. And it's like her take on how they met and ran off together. So this comes out March 12th. So look for that one. No, this is Algonquin Books. Thank you for that one. This one, I needed this one. The next one is You're Not Done Yet. So I have 3 grown children, and that's kind of what this book is about. Like, okay, your kids are old, they're out of the house, but they still need you. And how do you navigate parenting older kids? And that's what this book is about. It's these 2 doctors that are specialists in adult teen, it's not adult teens, older children, younger adults, that health management of them, because it's basically talking about how post COVID, it's even like it was hard enough to be a mid adult, and now it's ridiculous because post COVID, it's like everything's online and people are, it's harder to function together as in groups, and people don't really get together. And so it's a look at that. It's navigating anxiety and depression, mental health, online life, post-COVID issues, all that stuff. So it's a way for parents to like understand how to communicate with older kids and switch how you do it, because when they're little, right, it's like, don't cross the road and like eat your veggies, and you could kind of tell them what to do and they'd listen, and it was more about, keeping them safe. Well, now they have to learn their own stuff, and it's more of a parenting that's like guidance and being there and listening. It's more listening than talking. So that is what this is about. This is from St. Martin's Press. So thank you, St. Martin's. And it comes out March 26th. So check this one out. Next up is darling little rom-com. I love this author. This is Melissa Ferguson. She writes the cutest rom-coms that are always very funny. Her wit is spot on, and just a little sassy, like banter, if you like witty banter. So this one is I can't quite say, and it's kind of enemies to lovers, but I don't think that she knew they were enemies. So he is a screenwriter and she is the lead actress in this show. And so he gets called in to write for the show, but he like hates her. And apparently it all goes back to stuff that happened when they were younger. They've known each other their whole lives. I don't think she really knew all the drama. But this author, if you liked her before, she's written The Cul-de-sac Wars and Meet Me in the Margins, and there was one other one that I really liked. Oh, Famous for a Living. So if you liked those books, you will like this one. It's another contemporary rom-com. It's very funny, and I think if you like rom-coms, if you like TV shows, if you like sitcoms and 90s nostalgia, you will enjoy this one. How to Plot a Payback. So How to Plot a Payback by Melissa Ferguson, and it comes out April 4th. Coming your way, April 4th. All right, 4 more books. The Second Coming. This big old monster. Look at this behemoth. Holy smokes. Can we just talk about this for a second? I love to read, but holy bananas. I like 350 is like my sweet spot. And this one is that can't be right. Oh, 500. Wow, I was like 900. 586 pages. So chonker. But it sounds really cool. It's this is actually a father-daughter on the cover. So it's father-daughter relationship over time. So the gist of it is, like, I read the author. The author sent this little letter. I love it when they do this. They send you like kind of an overview. And basically he said he was like at a 7-Eleven one night and he overheard this conversation of this like 20-year-old who was reminiscing, if you can reminisce already at 20. But he was lamenting the fact that he did not have a relationship with his little girl because of his poor choices. And so he was like either in prison or like arrested and didn't have access to her anymore, and how that made him feel crappy. And hence this book was born. So the dad and daughter are separated, dad's incarcerated, daughter ends up going through stuff, and he reaches out to her. And so it is them like reconnecting. She's now 14 and reconnecting after being apart all those years. And so a look at parenting, it's second chance. I love any kind of second chance story, a redemption story, because this dad knows that the choices he made are what tore them apart and that they were bad. But then he looks at her and she's struggling and going through these things. And he's like, hey, I have got some insight into that and I would like to help you through it. It's kind of a look at the legal system and, just your choices defining you and how you can change that. So The Second Coming, Garth Risk Hallberg. This is from, who sent this? Knopf Publishing. And it comes out May 28th. So check that one out. I'm hoping I get the audio for this. I'm not going to lie. I'm really good at reading really fast, like 300 to 400 pages. Beyond that, I'm like, please give me the audio so I can listen to it at 2 times speed. But I mean, also some of my favorite books are giant books. Covenant of Water was a monster and I love that book. Okay, I'm digressing. I'm supposed to be telling you about my book mail. Let me refocus. Next up is The Last 12 Miles by Erika. How do I say your last name? Erika Robuck. And this is Sourcebook's Landmark sent this to me. And it's historical. Can you tell it's historical fiction? A woman looking away. A woman walking away. So historical fiction. And it is about, it takes place in the Roaring 20s, which is always really fun, but it kind of looks at like the darker side of the Roaring 20s, which was prohibition. And so this story is told point of view from 2 different women on opposite sides of the issue. So You have one woman who is a rum runner and is literally illegally bringing in alcohol to the United States. And then the other girl is a code breaker and works for like the CIA and maybe the Coast Guard, snagging ships as they come across to try to smuggle in alcohol. And so I think I love historical fiction, and I love stories that kind of tell us about women in history that we didn't know about, and like issues maybe I didn't know about. So I never really I mean, I know prohibition happened and I'm sure there was two sides to that, but I've never really thought about women in it. So I think it's really cool that there's a female rum runner and a female code breaker. So that is the story, and it comes out, I'm sure I wrote it down, June 4th. June 4th from Sourcebooks. So put that one on your list. That sounds amazing. Oh, this one was terrifying. Okay. We used to live here. I love being scared. I don't like horror movies, but I love scary books. And this one is very immersive, and I like it when books have like either a place as a character, a thing as a character. So in this, like the house is almost a character. So the story is that there's a couple that buys and flips houses. They find this house that's in like a mountain in the woods. It's this beautiful old house, and they buy it and start refurbishing it and redecorating it and remodeling it to sell it. And one day, as they are working on the house, the previous owner shows up. Like, this dude's like, "Hey, I grew up here. Like, this used to be my house. Can I bring my kids inside to show them the house?" So, of course, she's like, "Sure, come on in. Like, we'll show you what we're doing." And then things get weird. And so, like, they have a little girl who plays like hide and seek, but then she never shows up again. So, like, where is she? Did the house eat her? Like, what happened to this little girl? She's gone. And then, of course, a snowstorm happens. Like, okay, a snowstorm, that happens, but they all get stuck. And so then this family doesn't leave. So now you've got these like people in your house that you don't really know. So it's just giving you those kind of vibes. It's like kind of gothic horror mystery, spooky, where the house is like a character. And it's just, for me, I'm like, I'm never answering the door and you can't come in my house. That's the moral of the story. So we used to live here by Marcus. Marcus, I'm going to slaughter your name too. Kliewer. Marcus Kliewer. I don't know. I'm sorry, Marcus. And this is from Atria Books, and it comes out when? June 18th. So this will be good, spooky summer. Take this on vacation and be scared. And last, but certainly not least, is this crazy story that sounds really cool. I haven't read this, but I went down a Google rabbit hole researching this because I was trying to figure out what is like true and what's not. Obviously, not the fantasy parts are true. But anyways, let me tell you about the book. It is called The Cautious Traveller's Guide. Can you see that? The Cautious Traveller's Guide to the Wastelands. So this is from Flatiron's Books. It comes out June 18th. And it sounds so fascinating. It sounds like a mashup of kind of like steampunk and historical fiction, maybe a little fantasy. So the gist is that there's this train that goes from Beijing to Moscow, and it has to traverse this like terrifying area of land called the Wastelands. And along the way, it's like weird stuff out there, whether it's like crazy events or like weird creatures. Um, to be honest, as I was like looking it up, it kind of reminded me of like ships when you're like out at sea and there's like octopus and like whatever. That's kind of what I was thinking. But it's a train. So it gave me kind of Agatha Christie vibes. So you've got the people on the train that are traversing this very bizarre area. Weird stuff's going on outside the train, kind of tension inside the train. So then it sounds like there's maybe like people have to like come together to kind of decide whose side they're on the train. So like alliances are being formed. So there's drama inside the train, there's terror outside the train. So very Agatha Christie-ish. And it's told from multiple points of view. So it sounds like the cast of characters is really diverse. So sounds to me super cool. So Trans-Siberian Railroad going from Beijing to Moscow is what this says. And it's set in like the 1800s, but like not really obviously the real 1800s because there's like weird stuff in this. Maybe a dual universe 1800s, but it sounds super fascinating. So this one comes out June 18th. So there you go, my friends. Ta-da! Bookmail Monday on a Thursday. we did Thankful Thursday instead of Bookmail Monday, but whatever. We got all the books out there. So if you want to check any of those out, there is a link down below that takes you to bookshop.org, and you can check out all the synopsis and links for books there. And hopefully you will pick one of these up. And I highly recommend Wandering Stars by Tommy Orange. That's all, folks. I'll see you for either the next Bookmail Monday or Pub Day Tuesday, or maybe some random unboxings of a bunch of stuff I have stacked on my table. But anyways, thanks for stopping by Mama Leighellen's Book Nook. Let me know what book sounds best to you, and I'll talk to you later.